Next up on the docket. Next breaking news story of the day. We have a woman choosing to use Twitter, as we have been covering with the topic of outrage bait, to effectively get 4 individual players in the Overwatch community, amongst the key competitive players in the competitive match lobby, banned from the game by crying foul on Twitter. Meet the streamer Cupcake. Name Team Capshi, competitive Overwatch player and collegiate team captain Chastity Cupcake K, claiming that she is a victim of harassment during a match that took place on July 9th, that she uploaded footage of on Twitter to expose the evil misogynerds that took advantage of her. The information I have been covering, and I have covered in my own thread, that has been displayed here, and we shall go through it. Starting from the top. This person made a comment towards an individual who later came forward by the name Thick Thighs Please, whose account has now been suspended because of their interactions with Cupcake, as being someone who is playing the game of clout. They're going out, they're crying foul, and they are then coming back and saying, "Oh, look at me." Now, I do not condone, I do not support, and I condemn in the strongest terms the harassment that this individual has seen and has been facing from their actions and from the interactions they faced with people on the site. However, I would be remiss and it would be a violation of my goal here to not tell you exactly how this person is playing the dozens so they can get what they want and still pretend they were in the right all along. We can see as we go here and go through the thread, and specifically when we go to her thread, which I replied to, that this individual is playing the dozens. By playing the dozens, I mean they are playing with the actions of saying, well, see, in the rules it says that you're not allowed to insult me. But that's not the problem here. That's as I say here myself in the thread. That's not the issue. Namely, and quote, being a rules lawyer isn't a replacement for having thicker skin. Do you understand that, don't you? You report on people who on stream call you pejoratives. You don't report people who have a Lance Stewart laugh. So we can see here in the image itself. This is the level of the harassment that we're seeing. And this was prompted, of course, on stream when they were playing a match. Now, I do not suggest that you contact this person, as this person considers criticism of their actions to be harassment, and harassment to be violence. So, keep an arm's length distance. Make sure you follow me on my social media, at Mr. Random. Make sure you go and you look at the posts here in the thread, and that you look not only at the thread, but also at the moment. Make sure to like the moment, make sure to share the moment around, and make sure that when you see these tweets from this individual, that you are reporting them for harassment. Because as we see, this person has some very, very spicy things to say. Now, we go over the feature, and what we have here...
I'm the only person shooting the shield.
We have a... I'm sorry. I'm the only person who's saying this. Can you get on Mercy?
Whoa, what the actual fuck? Not a ha-ha situation.
Hold up, pretty bad.
So, just out of curiosity, is this how you guys treat every girl that comes into your comp games?
Shut the fuck up!
No, I'm just wondering.
Hey, go mop my floor.
Or if you
You know what it is? You know what you can't say online? Nigger. Oh my. You can say that online.
Now, as we see here, this is the harassment that she faced in the match. But as we can be able to go through the thread, we can be able to see that this interaction, as it started there, did not end there because they provoked this. No. There are things that she cut out there that were said during the stream. And we're going to go down the list and see how this plays out. Now, to the reference of this user's actions, which brought them to my attention. This person was bad-mouthing the wonderful, illustrious individual whom we know by the name of Smugraru on the internet. This individual, talking shit on the internet, is making money off of Overwatch, doing things that we expect to see and have done, and they are calling people anime reviewers. and they are harassing another creator on the site. I looked into them, which then brought us here, and as we go down the thread, and as we look at the interactions with this person is following Cupcake, the owner of the Twitch Bakery community, of which I am a member. And it is against the rules of the Twitch Bakery to do behavior of this fashion. Namely, as we look here on the DMs and how they interact, Cupcake is taunting, inviting people into their Discord for debate purposes of how they've been harassed by these individuals and how they are telling them that they deserved to have this said to them. And of course, posting this information here, but when they confronted them in game, they did nothing that normal competitive players do, which usually when somebody sees this kind of interaction, they block them, they report them, or they mute them, and they move on to the next game outright, and they don't think about it. That is not what Cupcake chose to do here. No, instead, what Chastity K chose to do is they chose to go on to Twitter. They chose to talk about how they were harassed and harangued and made a victim of horrible misogyny so that they could have an article written about them by the mainstream media. So that they could then go onto the site and then post images of them bragging and harassing and memeing on these people who she was originally stunned and shocked, but now is attempting to reclaim what they've apparently stolen from her. She wasn't silent. She was more or less radio silent then. She's not now. And as we can see here, when it comes to the quote-unquote defense of the behavior being done to her, she says that they need to stop defending this behavior. Although we have no one actually really defending the behavior, other than saying that she technically deserved what she was doing because she was being aggressive. And, as she says here, stop trying to defend this behavior. It doesn't matter how well I was doing or what stats I had. It does, because context matters. You can't say this shit to another human being. At the same time she's saying this, she's then saying, and I quote, "This just in, Overwatch community thinks spewing sexist insults at female player for their performance is a-okay. What a relief on that one guy's. I was just worried." Look here at what they send here. Someone posted my tweet to Reddit, and now I'm getting a shit ton of incels on my tweets. Big yikes. Honestly, not sorry at all for standing up for myself in every single reply and taking no shit. I am never letting another man or anyone, frankly, walk all over me anymore. And of course, continuing the line to the incel comment. Lol, where do they all come from? Look at these fucking replies. I can smell them from here. Holy. As we look here on the actual replies that we were seeing from these users were not sending her anything that could be characterized as, well, outright misogyny, hatred, violence, advocation of violence. That's not what happened. What actually happened, everyone, as I say here, on the thread in which, on the tweet, in the thread in which I condone, in which I condemn and do not condone the actions. The kind of tweets we're actually seeing from these individuals is actually this. We're seeing people, immediately after this, who are telling them the first mistake was showing the entire planet how bad that she was at playing the game, and then attempting to pass it off at people being mean. This happening after people go cover and uncover the actual VOD in question and show how this person's gameplay actually played out. Mocking, yes. Not nice? Maybe. But harassment? I don't think that's harassment. I think that's critique. Fair critique. Same thing here with Grandark. People saying yikes at you is not harassment. That is criticism. Somebody saying, man, you're really acting like you don't deserve the things you are claiming the accolades for. People saying that to you is not them harassing you. Because as we see in the article, written by Dextero, penned by Virginia Glaze, on July 10th. That'd be yesterday. They go on to list not only that the comments are bad, but also has the image of the actual usernames of the people, clearly showing that it's to get these people removed. And later on in the thread, as we go down, we see here an outright admittance from Cupcake herself. She is seeking and looking to ensure that these people get banned. I say at the top of the thread that this is what she was actually angling towards. And here we have an admittance that, yes, you can report these people, and they never said that they shouldn't. What they're saying is that this is how most things treat things in communities based on someone's gender. And that this person chose to go above and beyond the call of duty to claim the victimhood, while at the same time inoculating themselves in the system to be justified enough to claim that they deserve to do this, and that they deserve to be admonished as a victim. This consistently held up with the fact that nobody can be able to accreditate this person's actual listings, the actual review of the game, the amounts of deaths that they had, or any of the other things going into this. Because this person is not coming forward with their own stats, other than the fact that they are a person who's known for playing off-role, because she plays support. Her main role is Mercy. She's known in the community for playing Mercy. So, they probably Googled her, figured out who she was, figured out what her stream name was, and told her to face what they thought was good. I myself have been trying to accreditate this information. I've been trying to confirm what I know. I have not been able to find this person's information on Overbuff, and I have not been able to find this specific screenshot and the account which it's linked to, because as you can see in the image, they have special characters, which makes it nearly impossible to find this account, which I believe is by design. So go down the thread, and we actually go through this information. Another person asks me whether or not this is good or bad for Overwatch ranking, and I tell them after I go through the content of the person's stream. I try to find their information. I try to find any accreditation that this is who they say it is, and I find their stream, and I go through their records. I compare them to things that we already know about. I compare them to people who would be higher on the charts. And as you can see here on her actual charts for her competitive account that she was playing off-roll for, on the offensive position, this person has put in a semblance and a very large amount of time that is inconsistent with that of a pro player. Because compared to a pro player who's playing in the competitive rankings, when they actually look at what they're doing and how much they play, their win rates and everything else that can be confirmed on sites such as Overbuff, players do not play multiple characters in the rankings. They only play one. And this person's playing multiple ones. And it's not as though they're playing multiple ones per situation. No, they're playing multiple characters across multiple roles, where most players in competitive are known for sticking to a single character and being good at that specific class of character, if not that character alone. Because of this information, I have sought to fulfill a trust but verify position. Information is coming out and is updating as the news story unfolds. To cover those news updates, I suggest following Mr. Random at Mr. Random on both Twitter and YouTube, and staying tuned to what comes next, because this is before the check marks begin writing their stories. I don't trust how this information is playing out, because as I list here, as I go over it inside the thread, she posts information and declares on her page that this person is a support main. She mainly plays Mercy. So, this person, who claims that they play Mercy, and admits that they play off-role on the game, this person, if we take their word for them, is supposed to be a Grandmaster top 500 main support player for competitive matchmaking. And in this matchmaking, a person on an off-roll account who was smurfing down the ranking, meaning they're playing with people who they normally wouldn't be matched up with, which is frowned upon in any competitive community. It happens, but it's frowned upon because people don't want to play with Smurfs who are just going to be that kind of person in the game, outside of, tryharding and proving that they can climb the ladder. This person, who is a support main and is playing offense role, is also bragging about how they were playing only offense and that they weren't the dead weight on the team. Yet, when we go over the actual, go after the actual numbers from the match, this person displayed an exceptional amount of feeding that happened on the team. Now, I ask you, which one do you think is more likely? That in case she is not telling the whole story, that we haven't seen the whole story as of yet because no one has presented the side from the viewpoint of the other players, or if this is just a very, very easily worded PO, meant to get people to support this woman so she can get what she wants, which is them expelled from the game. Either of these, we have yet to be concerned. But what I do have to tell you, and what I do have to show you, is an individual who is now banned, who came to me with their information. A person by the name of Thick Thighs, please. This individual was blocked by Cupcake when they interacted with them and exposed them for doing what they were doing. They came to me, they supplied me their information, and within the hour that they had contacted me, they had been suspended on the site, as we can see here. Their account is now suspended. And so, I made sure, with the last of what they had sent me, that I took down their screenshots, and I went through the conversation that they had with them. And as we can see through the conversation, they tell them that no one should trash talk because it makes her sad and it makes her angry, so that she's going to report them. They start the dialogue. She calls him a kid. She seeks attention from her supporters. And Thick Thighs, please, interacts with her, telling her that if you can't deal with trash talking in games, that you should probably not be anywhere near multiplayer, regardless of being male or female. Cupcake replies, "Why does it matter, and why do we have to deal with people being shitty?" And he replies that because she has to be an adult and grow the fuck up, and stop acting like it's a serious issue that deserves wall-to-wall caterwauling on the subject matter, because ultimately it's trash talk. The supporters jumping in try and harass them. V8 explaining that they themselves were called derogatory words, which we will not say, and that you don't see them going on about what it is like to be bi or Spanish online. They instead just muted the person, and they moved on to the next game. Cupcake replies that she wants them to be adults and realize that there are consequences for their behavior, but the truth of the matter is that, as we go following down, that no, this is not what she wants. She wants them banned because she was aggressed. The conversation continues from there. And it continues with him saying that she acts as though only women get harassed in game lobbies. Tells them that they need to grow up and learn what the mute button does. And, as we see here, as the VOD shows, that they comment on the fact that because she only posted one side of the argument, she didn't post the whole gameplay footage, she didn't post the whole match, she didn't post the audio record, which can be found on their channel, although you will need to archive that quickly because we will not be sure if it'll still be there. That will be in the follow-up on this news story. Even though she has released part of the VOD, the media story around this, the circus that is being propagated about this, is promoting specifically the man bad woman weak angle of the story. Because at the end of this list, the last message that was sent to me by Thick Thighs was that this person, out of all the quote-unquote incels in her mentions, this was the person she chose to have a conversation with. This was the person she chose to reply to. And because he was banned, I believe that this person is indeed playing the dozens and is indeed looking for attention to boost up their own self-esteem, to boost up their numbers, to boost up their subscriber count, and to get unearned accolades that they do not deserve. It is because of this and because of interactions like this, that we have to be vigilant. We will keep an eye on the subject and on the matter of the story to see how these things develop and unfold. For the time being, we will have another news story coming up within the hour. We'll be right back, folks.